quad Xserve with a gig of memory, an 80 gig hard drive, the lights out management, built-in graphics, unlimited Mac OS X client license, $29.99. Now, if you compare that to the previous Xserve, you got single core dual G5s, a fifth the performance at $39.99 previously. So this is a huge jump, 5 times the performance, $1,000 less price. And again, Dell's been really aggressive on server pricing. So they must be really affordable there. So if you compare even the latest Dells with the latest Xeon processors in them, Xserve even beats that there. So over and over again, not only making better products, but busting the myth that they're more expensive. So the new Xserve will be available in October, just a couple months. And our transition's really complete. So thank you all, and enjoy our new systems. Steve?
So, our transition's complete. Now let's talk about the software that runs on all these Macs, OS X. What have we been doing for the last 5 years? We've been putting out releases of OS X. 5 major releases, starting in spring of 2001, and our last release was spring last year. And because of the progression of this software, I'm really pleased to report that we now have 19 million active Mac OS X users. The vast majority of our installed base is running OS X, and this is fantastic. We've also got a lot of critical acclaim, and as usual, Walt Mossberg said it best, the best and most advanced personal computer operating system. Because of this, I'm also pleased to report that our last major release of OS X, Tiger, has been Apple's most successful software product ever. So what have we been doing lately? What have we been doing lately? You know, we've had these great 5 releases. Well, we had a 6th major release that we don't get much credit for. And of course, that's Tiger on Intel that we shipped this past January. You know, porting an operating system to an entirely different processor architecture is no easy task. And our software team did a magnificent job of taking this on the PowerPC and turning it into this on Intel architecture. So they made it look really easy, and it's gone seamlessly, which has enabled this amazing transition to occur in 210 days. But under the hood, and as you all know, this was 86 million lines of source code that was ported to run on an entirely different architecture with 0 hiccups. Pretty amazing. And along the way, we created a way to build universal applications, applications that run on both the PowerPC and Intel. And again, I'm pleased to report that there are now over 3,000 universal applications shipping. And all of us at Apple would like to say thank you, guys. Thank you. You guys have done a phenomenal job in 210 days getting your application shipping universal. And there's a lot more being announced during the developer conference this week. So, this is what we've been doing for the last 5 years. What has our competitor been doing for the last 5 years? Well, they've been trying to ship a single release that's had many names, but is now called Vista. And to give you our thoughts on Vista, I'd like to bring up Bertrand Serlet. Thanks, Steve.
2 years ago at WWDC, we thought we'd poke a little bit of fun at the folks in Redmond who were still working on Longhorn. So we hung in the hallways of the conference those big banners that said, "Redmond, start your photocopiers." It was all a joke, but they actually took it seriously. why am I saying that? Well, let's look at the typical screenshot of Tiger and what we've seen on the latest beta of Vista. Some similarities here. Let's look at Spotlight. Now, with Spotlight, finally, it's easier to find information on your local disk than information on the web. And we have this incredible technology under the hood. After the WinFS debacle, they've been scrambling to understand how to implement that stuff. Now, in terms of UI, they did a major innovation. Instead of having the menu on the top right, they put it on the bottom left. Another key technology is, of course, the browser technology. With Safari, we kind of restarted innovation and creation in the browser space by having a browser that's both elegant, simple, yet powerful. And in Tiger, we added a personal clipping assistant functionality, Safari RSS. Guess what? IE7 RSS. They even have the same layout for the little kind of filter box on the right. Now, talking of similar layout, there's our mail program. And for the longest time, Windows that had this kind of combo that does mail and calendaring and address book. Well, no longer. It's now an independent program. This is iCal, our calendaring program, and this is Windows Calendar. They even tried to copy the color scheme and didn't get that quite right. Now, this is a logo. Now, you may think that I made up the logo by taking the standard Microsoft Windows logo and adding a nice aqua bubble on top. No, that's the official logo. But, you know, underneath it all, it's still Windows. It still has the registry as its core. It's still DLL hell. And it has this well-loved feature that's called activation. If you can't innovate, I guess you just imitate, but it's never quite as good as the original. So, enough said about Vista. Vista is still in the future for Windows customers, but for us, it's features from our past. It's features we've had in Tiger, in Panther, some since the beginning of macOS 10, and we've already iterated several times on those features. So to talk about the future, our future, I'm going to turn back to Steve.
Great job. Thank you, Bertrand. You know, our friends up north spend over $5 billion a year on R&D, and yet these days all they seem to be able to do is try to copy Google and Apple. So I guess it's a good example of how money isn't everything. So this is what our friends are working on. What are we working on? We're working on the next major release of OS X called Leopard. And today we want to give you a preview of Leopard. So let me start off with some of the stuff that we can't show you. There's some top secret features to Leopard that we're going to keep a little close to the vest and not going to show you today. I just want you to know they're there. We don't want our friends to start their photocopiers any sooner than they have to. And so we're going to keep a few things a little secret. But we are going to show you and talk about 10 major things that are going to be in Leopard today. And I'm going to ask Scott Forrestall to help me here. So let's start off with number 1. Scott?
Thanks, Steve. So the first feature of Leopard I'd like to tell you about is support for 64-bit applications.